Well, hello. As I said before, I was going to have two new videos, one on the MiG-29 and one on the T-90 tank. The MiG-29 has been built and completed. A Cobi East German. No issues, no missing parts. Kind of a funky build in some points, but overall, a lot of fun. Let me get the page that has all the little parts on it. I do like showing this off. A couple of extra pieces, nothing substantial to talk about. Nice in two bags. Bag one. Hope I got this right. No, I don't. Bag one and bag two, which is basically Cobi's good at keeping things segregated into sub-assemblies within the two main assemblies. Here is the finished product with its stand. I'm going to take it off its stand. The stand itself and the actual plane. As far as movable parts, I hope nothing popped off. It's the one thing I hate about these. Some of the surfaces you touch them the wrong way, and which I did there, but I put it back in place. Holding together pretty well. Not as flimsy as some of the stuff are in assemblies, and that's probably the only movable part. Actually pretty durable. And of course, in the pilot is a halfling from the waist up, no legs. You could put a pair of legs on if you want to pose them outside of the plane, and yes, the canopy does open, which I shall do. I can get it opened up here. There we go. Give you a look at the halfling and the cockpit. And there he is. I don't know why they can't just throw a pair of legs. I know they're not going to fit the way the cockpit is, but then you could actually display the pilot next to the plane, standing out. Okay, some historical facts about this plane. It's a fourth generation air superiority fighter. It ended service in 1983. And basic thing was to counter the F-16 and F-15. It's faster than the F-16. The top speed of this plane is approximately 1,520 miles an hour, or Mach 2.3. Range of 1,300 miles with the extra fuel tank. The engines are two Klimov RD-33, very common Russian engine that was Soviet engine from the Soviet days that found its way into this plane and a few other planes. Very dependable plane overall. It's got a 30 millimeter autocannon in the wing root. I don't know what side, this side maybe, or the other side. It is extremely maneuverable. It carries a variety of different missiles, Russian missiles. Oh, let's see if you have any specific information. There we go. The R-73 Archer and the R-27 Alamo, which be any of these. And they were helped with this little thing on the front of the plane here. That is part of the helmet activated targeting system. It was a unique thing of this plane. The pilot can turn his head. That little sensor will help him to follow, and then he could target one of these Alamo or, God, what was the other one called? Missiles to go down and shoot down the approximate Western aircraft. And this was designed to work with the Su-27. The Su-27 is a big heavy fighter, and the MiG-29 is a smaller, lighter weight fighting fighter. And this plane can actually go up like a spaceship and accelerate to an extreme amount of speed, break off, and get into a very tight maneuvering dogfight. It was designed for rapid deployment. If you look at the landing gear, it could land on rough airstrips. And what it could do is it could close the intakes on the bottom and open these two intakes on top so it wouldn't ingest like tree pieces, wood, dirt, or anything, and able to take off into the sky pretty quick. Early versions had analog gauges, an infrared scan, and then eventually sensors were added to it, fly-by-wire with later versions, which go into the MiG-31, the successor plane to this plane. And this plane was like sent around various countries. It was an Eastern Bloc weapon, meaning the Warsaw Pact countries, Poland, East Germany, Bulgaria, Hungary, Romania, Czechoslovakia, Albania would receive these as military aid, as main fighters to be used. This particular one is an East German one. And when Germany, the wall came down and became one country, these wound up going into the hands of the Luftwaffe. They modified them, they used them. They used them only for a short period of time. Then they gave them away to smaller countries that couldn't afford state-of-the-art Western aircraft. But this is not a bad aircraft. It's a well-designed, very durable, very good aircraft. So, I mean, is it like an F-16 or an F-15? No. What would be the differing factor would be the level of electronics, the avionics on it, and the pilots flying them. These planes, these Warsaw Pact planes, would have been formidable because you have European pilots flying them. You don't have third world country pilots. They were trained pretty well on them. They understood everything, and they adapted pretty quick. This is the same like in Ukraine. Ukraine still uses these planes. They've modified them, modernized them. Instead of the Alamo missiles, the Ukrainians probably have modern Western equivalent missiles, like maybe the Meteor system that can like engage multiple targets. I could see them putting that on theirs. But basically, this plane was commonly used by a lot. Current day, Russia's got 87 of them left. Ukraine has 58. Iran has 19. Cuba's got 4. Egypt has 46, and Algeria has 26. There are more modern planes around, and a lot of the countries are looking at Chinese planes. And I don't know, the way the Chinese defense system has worked in this little Iran exercise. I don't know if I would trust a lot of Chinese stuff, but this is a trusted plane. It's a good plane, and it was one of the last Soviet designed planes designed by the Soviet Union, which Russia now has as one of theirs. But because it was a Soviet plane, Ukraine has this, and a lot of countries that were former client states of the Soviet Union use these also. This plane is capable of 9G tolerances and advanced aerodynamics, which help it. And it's a high angle of attack plane. I mean, you can come up and hit while it's doing its maneuvers, fighting its opponents. And with the landing gear up, I'm not going to take the landing gear off because you got to play with it and it's tied into the sides and stuff. But, I mean, you'd have to totally disassemble the landing gear to put it on the stand to look at and appreciate the aerodynamics used in building this plane and basically see what it really is and what it represented to the Soviets in the 1980s as a way to stand up to U.S. aircraft that were coming out. Basically, though, the thing with all these planes, in the 1960s, the Soviets had the MiG-25, and the basic layout, the twin tail, twin engine, was on that plane. And then a pilot defected. We got to look at it. We dissected it and like right after that, the F-15 came out, which kind of similarities to like the MiG-29 did. And then there's a few other that came out, but I think it kind of set a precedent for the way this kind of a design would be. And they were able, since they did that with that conception of the MiG-25, utilize kind of that kind of style and form in this one, in the MiG-29, which I think is a much better aircraft as far as like dogfighting capabilities and just able to do things. And you could put a radar that would make it also be able to do ground attacking kind of things. The thing about this, it's made to survive. It's made to be fast, maneuverable, tough, work off of not the best runways, and basically to be maintained by crews that were not basically aeronautical engineers. Like I think you have to be with a lot of the Western aircraft at this point. But at this point in the Soviet Union, they didn't want that. They wanted something that can go, get in the air, fly, do its job, come back, and do it multiple times, and do it with a level of perfection in ability that would enable it to go up and stand up against the best Western aircraft around, which it kind of could do. But history has brought better designs around and newer stuff, so what you have is what's left of these 1980-ish and beyond versions. The ones that are left have been upgraded to perform in today's world. And like I said, it's a fourth generation fighter plane, and a lot of countries are still flying them. So you will see this around. It's totally exhausted, and all the airframes are no longer usable. And then if they build the MiG-31, which kind of looks like this, it's kind of the upgrade from this because it could do more things. You might see it in that form. So basically, that's all I have with this. I have the T90 video coming, and I will do several other different aviation themed videos. But for now, we'll leave it at this. And these planes were in Iran. I don't know if they've all been destroyed, but they do have a handful of these that could have come up and met American and Israeli jets, but I don't know if they did, if they just destroyed them on the ground. And like I said, my little list here, there were like 19 or 20 of these left prior to us going in, so they're probably all gone. But this was kind of a hallmark of Soviet design, which translated into the present day and gives you the MiG-29. A very good plane that's still being used. I will have the video for the T90 done as soon as I complete the model. I just started looking at it. It's kind of complex. It should be an interesting model because it's Russia's most current tank. I don't know if they export it. I think India might have some. I'm not sure. I haven't looked into that, but that will be coming up. And I have a couple other ideas. So hopefully you enjoy this video of the MiG-29. Thank you again, and hope you'll watch my next video. Have a nice day and nice weekend.